pressure ignites. Sellers in control, watch their sales grow. Empowered to win with eRank we flow.
Hello, eRank. Welcome to another live Q&A with me, Pam Duffy, and her, Starla. And it's been a week. I can't believe it's not Friday yet. How are you, Starla?
Oh, timing for today could not be better, right? Right, guys? Right? With all of this update stuff that we got yesterday.
I think we all needed to sit down and have a talk about this well, you guys don't know, but myself and Starla have already been sitting down having a chat. So if you have any questions that include what the heck are you talking about, bring them up in chat, because Etsy did a thing yesterday, so we're trying to find everything else out about it. And of course, if you have any other questions about Etsy, eRank, or anything else, drop them in the chat.
Yeah, we will try to summarize what you need to know. Everybody's been talking about it, so we'll try to go over everything that we know so far. And then if you have questions about it afterwards, then yeah, but we might answer those questions as we're reviewing everything. First of all, does anybody not know what's going? Did anybody miss all of this? If so, you probably haven't logged into Etsy over the last few days, because it's like glaring on your dashboard.
Yep, they dropped some articles, then they dropped it on the dashboard, and then they emailed everybody. So hopefully everyone should know by now.
Yes. So in short, Etsy's doing some, I mean, I consider them algorithmic changes. These are things that, we've not previously known to impact the algorithm, and now they are. If your shipping is above $6 starting on October 1st, you might get a little ding to your rank. So this kind of sucks, but keep in mind that Etsy's been pushing us to try to reduce our shipping prices for a long time. They do have data to back all of this up, basically stating that listings that have shipping prices over $6 are less likely to convert. The way around this is to factor those shipping prices into your item cost. I know that sucks because the customer ends up paying more altogether, especially if you're selling things like stickers, where they order multiple stickers and they're getting that shipping every time. It stinks, but this is just kind of what we have to do in order to comply with the Etsy gods and make sure that we're ranking in search.
But I can't see it because I'm not in the US. But along with this, Etsy is supposed to have rolled out a tool that'll make it easier for you to roll your shipping costs into your price, which is what they want you to do. If your shipping costs are going to be more than $6, they don't want you to take the hit in price, but just increase your listing price, is what they're saying.
And they did say listings excluded from this are obviously digital items, because you're not shipping those. Listings shipped from U.S. sellers to non-U.S. destinations. So if you're in the U.S. and you got to ship internationally, you can't charge $6. So that's fine. Listings shipped by sellers from outside of the U.S. So, international sellers, you guys are good. Listings priced over $35 from shops that offer a free shipping guarantee. If you've already done the free shipping guarantee stuff, you're good. And listings that use calculated shipping, because obviously if it's based on factors, then it's more of if you charge that flat cost for shipping your products.
Yep, exactly. There's tons of articles and everything all over Etsy worth checking out. And yeah, that below $6, it's only for US shops. That's only for US shops shipping locally in the US. Yeah, nationally.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting words today. I think we've been non-stop since all this dropped. So trying to figure it all out.
The last time we saw something that actively impacted our search ranking in terms of like algorithmic changes when Etsy started factoring descriptions into the algorithm. That took place, what, 2 or 3 years ago? So that's why there's so much buzz around this. So on top of the shipping stuff, which, you know, obviously this is more of a thing for US sellers, there's a couple other factors that they've mentioned that you might already notice on your dashboard that can lead to reduced rank in search. Obviously, Etsy wants us to maintain our customer and marketplace experience score. This is your good standing with Etsy. It means that, you know, you're providing great customer service. And with those include average review rating. So if you get a bunch of bad reviews, you might not get as much visibility in search. Message response rates. If you never respond to your customers, you might not get as much visibility. Now, we have seen a lot of people who have asked, like, oh, you have to have star seller now. Etsy specifically says that star seller does not contribute to your rank in search, but these factors do contribute to getting star seller. So just respond to your customers in a timely manner is the gist of it. Don't leave them hanging. Let's see. Your rate of cases that resulted in refunds, excluding those that are covered by purchase protection. Because if it's covered by purchase protection, that's coming out of Etsy's pocket because they're covering that for you. If that refund is coming out of your payment account, that can reduce your visibility in search. And on-time shipping, providing your tracking, same things again that would contribute to your star seller status are also contributing to that overall customer and marketplace experience.
Yeah, let's make sure I'm pulling up the right page. So people are saying, has the star seller gone? And it's into this page on your customer service stats. And they've rolled it the 2 into 1. So it's kind of like you can see your service standard, which is what Starla's just been talking about, and your star seller target. So it's almost like your service standard now is a lower standard, and star seller is a lower standard that'll hurt you in search if you're not meeting it, and star seller is a higher standard. So like the message response rate, your service standard is 80% of your first messages within 24 to 48 hours. To hit star seller, it's 95% of the first messages within 24 hours. So it's better service, as it were, to get the star seller. Your dispatch and tracking, the service standard is 80% dispatch on time. Star seller is 95% dispatch on time. Average review rating, service standard is no more than 4 reviews have a rating of 3 or lower. Star seller is an average of 4.8 or higher. And then the case rate is a new one in addition. Service standard is no more than 3 orders have had cases refunded from your payment account. So this is the cases opened, as Starla said, that Etsy are covering. That doesn't count, and you're allowed up to 3. And also it doesn't count if your item is above the value that's covered by the purchase protection program. I think that's $250. If something's above that, that's refunded out of your money, but it doesn't count against you. It's because it's not that you've done something wrong, it's because your price is higher than they cover. So you've got no more than 3 orders have their cases refunded from your payment account. And to be eligible for star seller, you need to meet this and not have the 3 orders as well. But everything else, service standard is like a lower standard. You have to meet, else it's going to hurt your ranking. Star seller is like extra on top of that.
Yeah, when I do my video on Tuesday, I'm going to do it almost like a pyramid where star seller is at the top, and you don't necessarily need to be a star seller, but star seller, you're extra special if you're there, but you're still ranking even if you're not quite there. So there is that. If you have met star seller, you're ranking it basically because you've already ticked all of those boxes.
Exactly. And that's now, it should be on everyone's dashboard, so you're able to jump in and see how you're doing for it all.
Yeah. Couple other factors that they mentioned were having a return policy, but you don't have to accept returns. You just have to have a return policy within your listings. So when you're setting up your listing, they're going to ask you if you accept returns. If you don't, just make sure that you've selected one or the other. You don't have to accept returns. You can say you don't, but you have to say whether you do or not, which I thought you had to select.
They were pushing us for it a little while ago. I thought you had to. I didn't notice that I'd been grandfathered into not being able to or anything. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to go in and check that everything's set up okay. Another one that they put up with that, which is new, is to say have a shop icon.
Yeah.
That was a new thing. I've never seen them mention, but it absolutely makes sense. You have your own picture, you have your shop logo. But basically, what we've always been saying is make sure your shop's filled out, the things you need in your shop. And these are, a lot of them are one and done things. You can come back and tweak them if you want a different logo or something, but just make sure that everything is in the back end of your shop. Policies are happy. You've got an about section. You know, you've filled in everything you need to help your customer.
Yeah. In terms of photos, you guys might be seeing some discussion about listing photos. Etsy states that each of your listings should include multiple high quality photos, which are critical for buyers when deciding when to make a purchase. So multiple. Now there's a Q&A portion at the bottom of the article where the question was, what if I don't have any reviews yet? Does this impact my new listings visibility in Etsy search? Etsy answered with this. New listings will still be shown in search even if they don't have any reviews or ratings yet, as long as they don't have any other listing or shop quality issues. For example, if a new listing is missing photos or a return policy, search visibility might be impacted immediately. So that's where I was concerned, was with the missing photos. But thankfully, Pam was able to get a little bit more information about that.
Yep. Certain things I can't share with you yet, but I thankfully have some terrible listings. So I was able to see that, and Etsy is showing me, let's see if I can find the right page again. Yeah, here we go. Add photos or videos. Here's my listings that some of my listings could do with a refresh. And it says one listing has one photo, add more photos. So they're flagging my listing that only has one photo. I have other listings with four images and everything. So Amanda's asking what constitutes, I can't do words this week, missing photos. And as far as we can see, more than one image at least. Seems to be it. But myself and Starla were talking before this. We don't have links. This is speculation, but we both remember hearing fairly recently Etsy saying five images is considered a complete listing. I don't know where this was said. I'm going to Google heavily when I come off. So Etsy saying it's warning us if we have less than 2, but I'm gonna say if you can, I'd be aiming for at least 5. It definitely, it's never been saying anywhere that I've seen that you have to have 10. So don't look to just fill it out if it doesn't make sense. But I can't think of any listing that shouldn't be able to have at least a few photographs.
Yeah, I would recommend, 5. Here's the thing with your listing photos, guys. The objective should be to keep that viewer on your listing for as long as possible. And every photo is an additional second that they're sitting and pondering making that purchase. So the more photos that you can provide and listing videos, even the better, because it might not necessarily play into your search ranking, having more and more and more photos. But if you're increasing the odds with every second spent that person is going to say, oh, yes, this is for me. Wow, this photo is really the thing that's going to convert me into a buyer. Why would you not take that opportunity to get all of those listing photos in there if you can? I've got some listings that only have like 7 photos, but I do my best to get as many as I possibly can. And nothing drives me crazier than like when I'm looking at a listing and I'm really interested, but there's only one picture and I can't figure out what I'm really looking at. And it happens all the time. So
Yeah. You've got to make sure you answer enough questions by the customer. I will say, I've seen people do this. There is no benefit to anybody for you duplicating photographs. I've seen people just try and fill up the 10 by having 3 different photos and just repeating them. There's millions of things you can put in photographs. Think of how we're going to show how it's used, where it's used, what size it is, if there's any damage or interesting features. You can have color charts, size ranges, any kind of all sorts of details.
yeah, and Lisa said I fill my empty image spots with text about the item, how to customize it, other items in my shop, creative process. Exactly. And that helps to show your buyers the extra steps and the extra work that you've put in, which is something that Josh Silverman has been highlighting in the last 2 investors reports, where he's talking about letting customers know your role in the creative process. The more that you can do that, especially since buyers are very suspicious right now because they know that there's a lot of people on Etsy who shouldn't be there. They're looking for those cues. They're looking for one good reason why. So when it comes to listing photos and listing videos, you should always be thinking, tell me something I don't know. That's what that customer is thinking. You know, Christina Nicole, the photography coach that I always talk about, she and I have been talking about people who just take their photos and put them in a slideshow and then stick that as a listing video. But those are the same photos that were already in the listing, and they're just recycling them into a little slideshow just for the sake of having a listing video. That's not telling me anything that I don't know. Tell me something I don't know. And that is what's going to actually contribute to hopefully conversion rates, because you're telling that customer something that they don't know about your product, whether it's the scale, whether it's, you know, you holding that product in your hand and turning it around. Even just by holding an item in your hand, you can get an idea of how big it is. When I'm looking at a listing, whether it be on Amazon, whether it be on Etsy, I don't just look at the listing photos. I go down to the review section and look at the photos that are uploaded by customers who have bought the product, because to me, those are the most accurate photos, because they're typically taken, you know, not in the best lighting, you know, taken with holding the item. And I can get more perspective on things like the scale. But you can do that yourself as well and aid those customers a little bit by making sure that you have those things in your listing videos.
Absolutely. Susanna, I wanted to pull this up. You're saying you don't see the screen that I just showed with Etsy giving us, in fact, I can just show it again, with Etsy giving me what I've done wrong with my listings. Then you are a teacher's pet. You've done everything right so far. That Etsy will, I think they tell you like, oh, great job or something if you're doing good. I've got some, yeah, here we go. Awesome work. And you're meeting our standards for the bits that you're doing well, which is lovely. And it means you don't have anything to, I don't want to say worry about, because I don't think we should be worrying as such. I'll take this point to say, if you have a lot of alerts from Etsy here, I don't feel at the minute in time you should prioritize changing your best sellers as a knee-jerk reaction, as a scientific experiment, you know, with a great thought process, but start working on some of your lower listings. I mean, obviously, if you have a listing that just has one image, like I have, you should probably go in and sort that out. But if there's warnings like they're saying an image is a little bit too dark or something, that is one they're saying. I'm seeing that for people who like have an all black image. There's very little you can do about that. So maybe just look at it and go, okay, I'm going to work on something else until Etsy clarifies with me what this is, or trains their bot that dark items might look dark, basically.
Yeah. Christina Nicole has found several different scenarios that are leading to these flagging issues. You might see things that say upload a higher resolution photo with at least 2,000 pixels wide, not using a collage photo as your thumbnail image.
I've got all of these.
Yep. Again, not having enough photos, so only having one image. images that are too dark, which obviously if you're selling something that like lights up, we've got some people who sell light up items. A lot of the images that I'm seeing in this too dark example, I have photos that are darker than these, and I'm not getting any flags for them. So these are just some of the things that you might see in your own shop.
Yeah, and if it's loads and loads, look at them and see and fix your least performing listings first and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm going to say nothing that I'm pretty sure that Etsy released this yesterday. I'm pretty sure they didn't change their algorithm yesterday.
No.
So nothing massive has changed. They've also warned us the date when this shipping price is changing. So they've given us a physical date. So the other things, either this is something that's always been impacting us. So if this is your best selling listing, even with these negatives, it's doing okay. Or it's something they're thinking about in the future, but it's not something you can't say, oh, my sales all crashed yesterday. That'll be something completely different, because at the end of the day, it was a lot of work for Etsy to roll all of this out. It rolled out to different people at different times, bits and bobs. There's no way they rolled all of this out and changed the algorithm all at the same time.
Yeah.
They can't.
All right. Are we good for questions?
We could be good for questions. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for everybody who has been patient. We'll try to speed run a little bit because I know that we've got quite a few in here. Kay had asked, does Starla provide 30-day free trial again? We're working on it right now. The team is actually building a page for me for it. So that should be available again very soon. That's not something that I personally am able to do. I'm not the one building it. The team is. So we just got to wait until they find a way to make it so that people can't abuse it. We've been having a lot of issues with people abusing the free trial and not using it correctly. So that should be coming soon. Let's see. Malcolm Productions 1, does it affect ShipStation or just Etsy's postage service? Regardless, you have to add your tracking. So if you're shipping with an external service, I'm assuming as long as you add your tracking and you mark your items as shipped, it should be the same.
Yeah, I think this came up when we were talking about all these changes from Etsy. So the shipping under $6, that'll affect ShipStation, Etsy postage, absolutely everything. It doesn't matter the method you use, because at the end of the day, Etsy doesn't have a postage service. They're just giving you an easy way to purchase through the companies that they're offering. But yeah, it'll all be the same.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Can I do product research on Etsy and find new products to possibly sell? Sure. I mean, I would take those keywords associated with items and pop them into eRank and make sure that there's actually people searching for those products. Because remember, just because people are listing them, it doesn't necessarily mean that there is anybody searching for them. What really matters is that search data.
Yeah. Going on Etsy is a good place to start. Walking around shops and seeing what's popular there is a good place to start. But you can do that and then use the data. eRank has a whole load of tools, and we're always a good thing to do if you're doing product research is to read the monthly trends reports that our Jan does. She goes through the trending keywords every month, so that'll help you as well.
Billy boy, let's see. I know the rule is not to change title or tags on a listing that is selling well, but would it harm the listing to just add supplied in gift box to your so that doesn't really feel like I mean, are you adding that to your title? Because that feels like an unnecessary detail for your title regardless, because nobody's going to be searching for supplied in gift box in their title.
The only thing I can think of is it could, because the title is also for a customer. If customers are looking for something that is supplied in a gift box, that might help them. As you're adding to and not taking away any of the keywords that work for you, that shouldn't hurt you particularly. Basically, the rule is not to change things that are selling well, because it could harm you, because we don't necessarily know all the combinations of words and phrases that were causing Etsy to understand what your item is. But at the same time, I'm sure most of us change things sometimes. I'm forever changing my best-selling listing because I'm forever testing, and most of the time you don't kill everything. And certainly adding a phrase, if you think it'll help your customer, it's not going to help your SEO, as it were. But if you think, well, I suppose gift box is a term that Etsy might be pushing, could be a book lover's gift box or something. So yes, it could slightly help SEO.
Yeah, you just don't want to, because you never know what weird combo Etsy is broad matching you for. And you might have a weird combination of words that you're ranking for that you don't realize you're ranking for. And when you remove one of those words, you're basically cutting off that super highway that's leading to your listing and not even knowing it. So if you're adding to, it shouldn't be an issue. Just be careful when subtracting anything out of your title and tags to make room for that new phrase. And, you know, when in doubt, you could always put it in your description as well. That's where I would put that information too.
And in your photos. I just did a photo shoot actually with my items with the box they're going to come in. If it's a nice looking box in one of your, not necessarily in your first image, but in some of your other photos, absolutely pop it in there too.
Linda said, so text in photos is okay. I'm thinking of doing that since Etsy basically buried our descriptions. It can lead to people not reading them and misunderstandings. Yes, I wouldn't, unless you absolutely have to, like for digital downloads and patterns and things, having, you know, a little bit of text on your thumbnail, sometimes it's necessary. But if you're photographing something like a necklace, I wouldn't litter your thumbnail with text. Secondary photos, it doesn't matter at all. It's totally fine to have some text on there. I just wouldn't take your main thumbnail image and put text all over it, because not only will Etsy not feature it in any of their like Etsy's picks, if you have a bunch of text all over it, it just doesn't look very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, but you're saying Etsy buried our descriptions, which is very true. And you can, in your third, fourth, fifth picture, very easily make that a photo picture that describes the things you want them to know.
Yeah. Cindy, great question. Can you tell me about alt text, where it shows up and how it's helpful? So alt text is used for people who rely on screen readers in order to make your listings accessible. These could be people who are blind, who navigate the internet exclusively listening to the things that they hover over. And what your alt text is going to do is, if this is somebody who is blind or even colorblind individuals rely on alt text. But for the sake of the example, we'll say blind. Someone who is blind might utilize alt text because they cannot see with their eyes. So what your alt text is doing is explaining to them what this image is. So making sure that all of your images are optimized with your alt text is basically making your product visible to someone who otherwise would not be able to see it traditionally. So what you're basically doing is, let's say that none of your competitors have optimized their alt text. You're making sure that your listing is the one item on that entire search page that this individual can see in the way that they see the world, which is why you absolutely don't want to keyword stuff your alt text, because can you imagine how frustrating that would be for a blind shopper to stumble across your listing and think, oh, good, someone has catered this for me, for my needs. And then they get gift for mom, gift for grandma, gift for aunt, gift for great, gift for back to school. Great. That would tell them absolutely nothing. So when you're using your alt text, hold that item in your hand, pretend that you have a friend who's next to you who is blind, and explain to them, describe to them what that item is. Silver wolf head shaped candle jar with detachable lid, woodsy scent. Just try to get descriptive with it. And if you have another photo where you're selling the same thing, but the lid is off, you know, silver wolf-shaped candle jar with lid lying to the side of the jar. Red haired woman holding wolf head shaped silver candle jar. There's always ways that you can describe those photos differently. So you don't need to just reuse. Again, tell me something I don't know. You don't need to just use the same alt text over and over. If you're filling out your alt text, make sure you're putting the variants, because you're explaining why every photo is different. You're telling that individual something they don't know. Is it on its side? Is the lid off of it? Is there someone holding it? Is the candle lit? There are so many different ways that you can fill out that alt text, but ultimately you just want to make sure that it is accurately describing what the image is.
Yeah, I like your last examples better for a couple of reasons. So it's not just for blind people, but also visually impaired people. So if Starla is saying this is a red-haired woman holding the jar on the right-hand side and everything, then the person is able to maybe make sense of the picture to go, oh, that's the thing, and I can understand what color it is, and an idea, they can start to see it. But the other thing alt text does is Google likes it. Now, don't be thinking of this for SEO. It's for a very different thing, really. People will say it's great for your SEO. Tiny, tiny little amount. But what it's good for is in that image, Google looks at images and understands images. But if you've given an extra description to them, it'll go, yes, I thought that was a wolf head candle on the left there. You've now told me that's exactly what that is. Therefore, I really understand what this image is. I'm confident I can tell people or show people this listing because I know that the image is exactly what it says, what I think it should have been. So it's helpful, but it's not like adding tags or something where you're going to rank and search for certain keywords. It's helpful for how it can help people understand a picture.
Exactly. Let's see. Isn't a video that is a collection of some of my listings versus no video or video at all better, because it allows customers to see other products I offer? And 2, Etsy says listings with videos get more views. Listings with videos get more views, but that doesn't mean to just throw any video in there. It's not all videos are created equal. Here's the issue with a video that is a collection of a bunch of your other listings, right? If someone is on a search page looking for wolf head candle and they hover their mouse over your listing, and then they don't see wolf head candles playing in that slideshow, how is that serving that customer who's actively looking for this item when they start getting candles that are not this? And what they're seeing in that moment is not what they're searching for. So that would be my argument. It's not that listing videos are getting more views. It is that listing videos that are answering questions about that specific item that the customer may have. Now, if you're doing a slideshow, or, at the end of your slideshow, maybe you have, we also have these, like, here's all these different angles of this wolf head candle. By the way, we also have these candles. That's a little bit different. But I'm thinking about those people who are in the active search process, who are looking for this type of item, this very, specific type of item, and what they're seeing in search is not this specific type of item. So, because that's not answering the question that they're actually typing into search.
Yeah. I think Starla had mentioned before about having a collage of your actual listing. So I would say if we're in a hierarchy, yes, is a video that's a collection of some of my listings better than no video? Potentially, but hierarchy, no video, some irrelevant images in a slideshow, some relevant images in a slideshow, but then way up here, an actual good video. So it's, yes, is it better than nothing at all? But is it really helping? Not a whole lot. And what Starla is saying there, Etsy says listings with videos get more views. Yes, but they get more views not because Etsy ranks them higher. They get more views because customers like it when they see it. So if what they see they don't like, that listing won't get any kind of benefit for having the video. It's not a case of checking boxes going, it's got a video, therefore it's doing better. It's like you could have your, this is not the best example. I was going to say your listing photos could be all black and nobody would click on it. They probably would because they're being nosy. But you could have like really, really dark pictures that are terrible. People are more likely to click on someone else's. But you go, but I've got 10 images. Yeah, but 10 rubbish images are no good. 10 rubbish images and a terrible video doesn't help you. So it's not a case that you're going to get ranked higher. It's a case that your listings could attract people to hang around a little more. It might cause them to convert a little more. If you convert, if your customers are more likely to buy, then you'll get shown higher in search. If you get shown higher in search because you've got a better selling listing, then you'll get more views. So you make good stuff. The best way to get more views is to make good stuff that people like.
Exactly. Beverly, I assume that your question is in relation to the collage photo. She asked, what if you have family Christmas shirts? I read somewhere that you need to use all the shirts as the thumbnail. If the customer is receiving all of the shirts in their order, then yes, you would need to have all of the shirts as a thumbnail, and you probably will get hit with the thing that says that you can't use a collage photo because the robot algorithm is very dumb. So unfortunately, it's one of those things where this is why algorithms are dumb and stupid and they don't factor in every single scenario.
Yeah.
I wish that I had some advice for you, but if that happened to me and they were receiving multiple items, I would just say, screw it. Like I would just not change my photo.
Yeah. We don't have the word from Etsy any more than you do, but my think for everything that I've read there, what Etsy's telling us is a collage might be harder to see in search. If you've got 4 pictures instead of 1, this will be harder to see in search, which absolutely makes sense. My gut feel is they're not penalizing you for this. They're just saying it could help you convert better if you have a clear image. So they believe that collages in general don't convert so well. But if your image is good enough, like one of my best sellers that I've got flagged for is a collage, that's why I'm flagged for it. I'm not touching it because basically what I make is sculptures of people's pets from their picture. So of course it makes sense to have a listing that shows the picture and shows what I've made from it. So it makes sense to have that in my kind of listing. I'm not going to change it. If it makes sense to have this, what you could do is experiment with 2 different listings and have one with trying to stand everyone together and one with the collage as a thumbnail and see if it makes a difference. I don't think you're going to rank lower for the listing that the customers like the best. Etsy would be doing something pretty dumb if they did that. But
yeah, I don't think they're going to take away from you suddenly if they notice, because sales, to me, that's the biggest indicator of success, because not only are you making money, Etsy's making money, and Etsy's not going to do the thing that's going to hurt them making money.
Yep. But we know as much as you guys do. All I can say, in fact, I can bring this screen up again. Is that the right place? Whatever screens they've given us. Oh, here we go. 5 factors risk lowering your search visibility. Learn how they could help you show up. But I'm reading it, and everybody has to read it all differently because we haven't got advice. They're saying it could risk lowering. It doesn't say will lower. Whereas on the $6 shipping one, it did say this will be an impact. So we have to read between the lines. But if it's working, I wouldn't change that one necessarily. Maybe try a different one.
All right, let's see. Lorenzo, when adjusting your listing for optimal SEO, what key areas should be looked at most? Well, your title and tags. That's it, title and tags. Etsy tells us that our descriptions do play a role, but in the Etsy Up event last year, Andrew Stanton, their head of Etsy search, said that listings are descriptions are not used for query matching, which is the keyword matching phase. They are used in order to see if your listing matches a specific style that they've noticed within the buyer. So that to me is that layer of personalization that Etsy puts on every shopper, where, you know, if Etsy notices that you only buy blue items and you really like blue and everything you buy is blue, then even if you don't search for a blue rug, if you look for a rug, Etsy is more likely to recommend blue rugs. So if Betty is selling a blue rug and she mentions in her description that there's blue in the rug, maybe Betty's rug is more likely to show up and search for someone who searches for a rug, even if they didn't specify that they're looking for blue. But in terms of SEO, it's title and tags.
Yep, that is the basic thing. Bear in mind, for anyone sort of new to this, obviously you have to find the keywords that you're going to put in your title and tags. That's where eRank can hopefully help you, because not only are you finding the keywords, you're finding what people want to buy. So you find these, you put them in your title and tags, but you make your listing really relevant for what people are searching for and really cool and something they want to buy. Because as we said, the fact if people see it in search and buy it, the buying factor is way more important. Your title and tags are important to do, but I might make a listing that has perfect title and tags. Starla might make a listing that's not quite so perfect, but her item's just so much cooler and everyone wants to buy it. She'll do better in search than me because people like it.
All right, let's see. Glass Daisy Craft Co. I've heard conflicting info about adding listings. Some say limit to 3 per day, as adding more will hurt visibility. Others say add lots at a time. Is there any impact to adding lots at one time? There is no evidence to support anything that any of these people say. Oh, you have to upload 10 a day. Oh, no, don't upload more than 3 a day. There's no evidence to support any of this. I don't know where all of these weird cracked out theories come from. If people just sit and think like, ooh, how can we confuse sellers today? And then they make a YouTube video and post it. If you don't have it listed, it can't sell. So there's one side that says, oh, you know, it'll hurt your visibility if you list too much a day. How is that hurting your visibility? You're casting a bigger net by creating more keyword opportunities, by taking more fishing poles and casting them out into the sea of Etsy. At the same time, there are also people who say you need to upload 100 listings every week. You need to upload this many to get found. That's bogus too. There's no minimum or maximum. If you have an item that's ready to go, that's ready to list, that's done, list it. Because if it's not listed, it can't sell. But there is no penalty to listing too few items or too many items. And there's no threshold that you need to list in order to be successful. I've got a shop that we bought some bookends from that all they sell are those bookends. They only have one listing. That's all they've ever had is one listing for bookends. And they sell that listing all the time for this one item. And that's what they're successful for. Sure, they've got like a big social media following and they've, you know, probably got amazing listing quality scores, but they're not uploading a bunch of listings every day. There's no evidence behind that. So anytime that you hear one of these crap theories from somebody, comment with cite your sources. If they can't cite their sources, then they're making it up.
Yeah, the only things I can think of, 2 things where this will hurt. I would say making yourself list 3 items every single day or 100 listings in a day or something, that will hurt your mental health. That will burn you out. Nobody can guarantee that, especially if you're thinking, I have to list 3 every single day, else I'll drop out the algorithm. Load of rubbish. The only thing, and it's not Etsy related, this is a thing that I know specifically about YouTube, so it might be a thing in some other social media platforms, is that there is a limit to the number of times YouTube will alert your followers in a day that you've listed a video. So if you list 20 videos and if you happen to follow eRank on YouTube and ring the bell to get notifications, you won't get more than 3 notifications from us in a day, basically. So it's potentially come from something like that, but I don't think many of us. I'm not aware of Etsy limiting how often they alert your followers. They just do it whenever they feel like. It's random anyway. I'm not aware of anyone making massive amounts of sales from Etsy alerting. Generally, you need a whole mixture of things. You need social media, you need SEO, you need awesome listings. So I think people have heard something slightly from somewhere and assumed it works for Etsy, and they've tried it and it worked for them for whatever reasons. But it's no different than me saying, if every Thursday I hop anti-clockwise while wearing my underpants on my head, and I did that once and it worked, so we all must do that. It's a superstition, I think, rather than based on anything in fact.
Yeah, though I will say that, by the way, guys, I'm flying to Latvia to speak at Printify's Amplified event. And one thing that I do notice in the Printify Rockstars group is these people who are like, oh, I uploaded 100 listings yesterday and I still don't have any sales. And they're like the lowest quality crap, like clip art designs I've ever seen. There's just no audience for it. There's no demand for what they've made. If you're just volume is going to make you suffer in quality. Your quality is going to suffer if what you're focusing on is quantity. So quality over quantity. Remember, there's a guy out there selling bookends who only has 1 listing in his shop, but they're really great bookends that's making daily sales for his bookends. There is also a seller out there that probably has 6,000 POD t-shirts with crappy designs that they put no time into, that's making no sales because there's no demand for their designs because they haven't put any time into them. So quality over quantity.
Very much so. 100 listings in a day. Yeah.
Right.
Don't do that, anybody.
Yeah. Michelle said, Pam, yesterday you talked about the Etsy tips that convert versus helping us to rank. Is it too soon to tell what they are besides the stated response rate on time, shipping, and cases?
Not too soon. Etsy told us about it ages ago, really. There's an article called, what's it called? Creating Listings That Convert. But they've changed it slightly because both myself and Starla sort of our ears pricked up when we read this. So there's a whole article worth reading. Main thing that's happening here is they're talking about a listing engagement score. So this is when an item's seen in search, we look at how well the listing converts. That's how many view it and take an action such as favoriting or purchasing to determine whether shoppers are interested in it. This boosts the listing engagement score. So this is the first time it's been mentioned as that. That I don't know, that might have just changed yesterday. I've never noticed it before. But we've got all sorts of factors in here. This is creating listings that convert. So they talk about, if you look at all the things in here, everybody can decide what this means for what Etsy's saying. How to do your first listing photo to create listings that convert. So high resolution, avoid photo collages, no placeholder text, multiple high quality photos. So that kind of, to me, that's saying quite a lot of the things that they're talking about in this new thing are things that will help you convert to increase that engagement score, rather than necessarily things that directly help you rank. But that is me assuming and reading between the lines, so you'll have to make up your own mind on what Etsy's actually saying.
Oh, isn't that always how it goes?
Yeah.
Now we're being more transparent, and then they're not.
It's the very opposite of it.
Here is, I'll go ahead and give you guys, I got to switch my account. Hold on a minute. Let me switch so I can give you guys the link to that Pam was just talking about.
Get the articles. Yep. I'll see if...
Okay.
I I just want to not share, but show you this because I can't share things. But this is where I find out when Etsy's dropped something new. So it's Etsy.com seller handbook, all articles, and I see everything. It's not just new articles, but you see when they've updated them. So this is when I know a new creating listings that converted was changed yesterday, the visibility page. So definitely that I don't have any secret contact with Etsy. That's where I'm learning where all these things come from.
All right, let's see. We've got about 10 minutes. We should be able to get through everybody. Michael said, when creating a new listing in store, should I start with ads to initially get traffic and then pause after getting some purchases? You can, but here is the data side of this. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall where you don't have any proven proof of concept behind your design, and you're just kind of putting money behind it, hoping that the money is going to do the work for you. When in reality, it's usually better and more cost effective to list your products and allow them to organically gain that placement. Because here's the thing. In order for an ad to be effective, you've got to have good SEO first and foremost. And you don't know that you can do a ton of keyword research and spend all day and think that you've got the best keywords and say to yourself, my SEO is good. And your SEO still won't be good because you don't know that your SEO is good until you start getting views of that listing. It may look good. You might see good searches. You might think that you've got great keywords, but the people who are clicking on those listings are going to dictate whether or not they're good. So that's one part of it, on whether or not your ads are even going to be effective to begin with. The second part is that you have to have compelling photos and a product that's in demand. So, you could put money into a listing that never sells because your photos aren't great, your SEO isn't great, or there's just no demand for what you're selling. I always recommend that sellers bet on their winning racehorses. If you go to a horse race and you're looking at all the horses and trying to decide which one to bet on, you're not going to bet on the horse that has never won a race. You're going to look at their track records and figure out which horse is known for winning races. You're going to look at past data. You're going to analyze that data and you're going to decide where you're most likely to make a return on that investment. When it comes to your Etsy ads, that return on investment is going to be made when you're putting ad money behind items that are already selling, because you're taking something that already has demand, that customers already like. Clearly, if they're buying it, that means that they found it, which likely means that your SEO is good. It likely means that your photos are good, and it likely means that there's a market for it. You put money behind that item, and it's going to amplify something that is already doing well and make it do even better. So can you put ad money behind brand new items? Sure. But that's not going to guarantee success at all.
Yeah, I want to add to anyone doing any kind of ads, you can't just turn on ads, expect that you're going to get some kind of sales and leave it. You have to be analyzing your ads all the time, using all the data that Etsy gives us to look at and see what's working, what's cost effective, what data am I getting from this, what keywords are maybe good for me, what hadn't I thought of. And I just, when Starla was there giving her great examples there, I had a cool thought, because I was thinking as well, I'm making some new ranges that I've got a fair idea are going to be a winner, and I was thinking of putting some ads behind them. And this is like the horse racing thing, that if a horse has never run, you don't put money on it unless you have some insider information. So if you know your audience well enough that you know you've made something that really might work, and most of us probably are not at that point, but if you really know you've got a thing, this is like my stuff that's doing really well and it's very seasonal, this is the time, I might do on a new range of things, drop a couple of ads on, but never just sit and leave it and just expect it to get some sales and then stop the ads. Have a really good reason why you're doing the ads and what you're going to do with that data. Ads can be a money pit.
We actually did that with our shop. We've got this innovative idea where we've created something that no one else has, because we do officially licensed products for authors. This is actually one that we're not publishing because it's messed up. But these are book covers of a specific author that we're licensed for, and they're planner stickers. So we know that planners are really popular. We know that planner stickers are really popular. We know that this book series is really popular, and there is no one selling planner stickers for this specific book series where they can mark on their calendar when they're reading this book. So in this example that Pam's using, because this is such a unique item, and we know that the concepts are both in demand, both the book series and planners, this might be something that, despite not having the data, I could make, you know, a wild guess that putting some ads behind this might do well, based on what I know, because this product is very unique and nobody else has it. But like Pam said, most of the time, most of your items aren't going to be that innovative, like aha moment, unless you've invented totally something completely new that no one else has, which that's hard. This is like the first time that we've ever invented something new. You know what I mean?
That's a cool idea. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing, not only can you back yourself, but it could be a time dependent thing as well. You want to get out right as the books are launching or something if you can, and stuff like that. So yeah, you can back yourself, but with some data, knowing that this is likely to be something really cool, it's hard not to think that everything's going to be a winner, but sometimes you just know it's like, yeah, this is an item that this is one I'm excited about.
All right, we'll try to speed run the last few because we've only got 4 minutes. Amy said, interestingly, Etsy says that Google might not use a listing that has text overlay, but my items most viewed purchased via Google search actually has higher success rate than the same item without. I think that they mean Google shopping, not necessarily in a Google search, which is why you might still be getting hits from Google, but they're not being featured in Google shopping, I believe.
Yep, that was what I'd heard as well.
Yeah. Madison, what's the best way to rank higher up organically when first beginning POD? Using good keywords. I'm a POD seller as well. It takes time. There's no speed element to it. It's all about doing your research, making sure that you have an in-demand niche, that your competition rates aren't super duper high, trying to find something unique that you can add to the marketplace. And what's the best way to do SEO research for platforms like Instagram and Pinterest? Instagram, I'm not sure if there's any good SEO tools. There might be, but for me personally, with my Instagram strategy, I try to target keywords in my captions. Hashtags don't really mean anything on Instagram anymore. Adam Massari, their CEO, said so. But I try to target keywords that are related more towards lifestyles. So for example, I'm not targeting like keywords, you know, I'm officially licensed by all these authors. I target keywords related to like, you know, bookish, you know, readers, keywords that are related to the people, not the item. I'm not saying Tumblr, sticker. Those aren't related to a lifestyle. As for Pinterest, we have Pinterest keyword data at eRank. All you got to do is toggle your marketplace to Pinterest. So you can do a little bit of keyword research.
Super fun there, yeah. And Starla, the word Starla said that's the most important when starting out is niche. Find yourself a really cool niche, because you can get in there and be the big fish in the little puddle and work your way up. Yeah.
And by the way, guys, use code AMP Starla. If you use code AMP Starla, you can get free access to Amplified by Printify. They're flying me all the way to Europe just to talk about niches and how important they are. If they're willing to fly me all the way to Europe to talk about it for POD sellers, clearly it's something important that we should be doing. So if you guys want to attend that, I'll be speaking about SEO. We'll be talking about eRank. We'll be talking about niches. Use the code AMP Starla. It'll bypass that $5 checkout system and you'll be able to get access for free. I've got a set of earrings and a necklace that go together. Should I list them as a set or two separate items? You could do both. You could have them listed separately. You could list them together. That's really up to you. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah, if you can make more of them, I would do all of the above, because that gives you 3 different items that can target different people. Earrings and necklace can then be a bundle, a gift set, all can target slightly different things.
Yeah. All right, it is 4 o'clock on the dot. I'll go ahead and Madison had asked also, what are some marketing content ideas / tips when creating content for your POD product when you've ordered a sample product? It completely depends on your niche and what's going to most appeal to them. My biggest advice, and something that I do for my own shop's Instagram account, is to look at what other look primarily at what the influencers within your niche are doing and how they're styling their photos. Don't just focus on the sell element. Make sure that you're creating beautiful photos, engaging content, things that are fitting a need and interest. And that's why not having a niche is so hard, because if your account has products with football and then cats and then food and then, construction workers and then birthday products, and then who is it for? And who's going to see that account and say, this is for me, I want to follow this? It's going to be really hard, because you're not going to be targeting anyone. You're going to be trying to target everyone, and nobody is going to follow an account that isn't catered specifically towards something that they're interested in.
Yeah, you've done a good start ordering a sample. That is a really important thing that I think everybody should do. And then look at your niche, like Starla's bookish niche. You had some beautiful blanket rugs. I would totally be saying, get beside a fireplace with a book with a rug wrapped around you. If you're doing camping t-shirts or something, go camping by the lake. Do put yourself where your niche aspire to be and take some cool pictures.
And if you can't, get into Canva, subtract the background and put a fake background in there, because in a lot of my photos where I'm wearing like a bookish shirt in this fantasy world, I'm not going to a fantasy world to go take the picture, or going out into the forest, in the winter to get a perfect shot of me out in the snow. No, I'm going into Canva. I'm erasing the background from a picture of me standing in front of my fence, and I'm sticking a background of a snowy field behind me so that I look like I'm in the place.
Yeah, you can totally have fun with it. But hey, guys, if you can take a weekend away on business expenses, why wouldn't you?
We do that when we go on vacation. I'll take a bunch of my merch with me on vacation so that I can get pictures in the beautiful Airbnb, just to make sure that we've got, I'm like, ooh, all the beds are made. There's a pretty fireplace. Like, this house is way nicer than mine. So I'll do all my photos there.
Someone else has tidied this up. Right. I'm taking everything down.
Like, nobody touched the beds. Nobody moved the covers. I need the beds for a minute. And then I lay the blankets out on the pretty beds. And then I'm like, okay, you guys can mess up the beds. But
yeah,
guys, thanks so much for hanging out. We appreciate you. If you had questions that did not get answered, pop those into the eRank Facebook group. It's linked down below in the video description, or you can head over to Facebook and type eRank group right into your search bar to join. Other than that, I'll be streaming tomorrow over on my channel. Pam, are you doing any? Do you have any shows?
Yeah, well, I already streamed about this yesterday, this new Etsy update, and I will be going into all your questions and finding out more on my Saturday video, which will be pre-recorded. But if you have any extra questions, let me know there.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
It wasn't easy, no, but with eRankCommunity.